Well, looking out this morning, I feel like I should begin with Shana Tova. Instead, I'll wish you a Shabbat Shalom, and I'll just ask, how y'all doing? Let's try that again. How y'all doing? If I'm being completely honest, for the last 120 days, this easiest of all questions, how are you, has been very hard to ask and almost impossible to answer. We're so used to asking, how are you? How's it going? And we answer, good, I'm fine, or this could be my antidepressants, but I'm doing great. The questions and the answer, it just rolls off the tongue, and we hardly give them a second thought. But what is lost when we treat this exchange as a mere formality? When we ask and we answer without thinking and without listening. Since October 7th, I find myself answering, how are you, with, I'm doing as well as can be right now. Israeli Lital Kaplan goes a step further in a poem she calls New Regulations for Small Talk. And as I read it, listen for the Hebrew wordplays. She writes, asking what's up, that's canceled. Instead, ask what's been blown up, what's broken, what's left. Ma nishma butal. Uvim komo nishal ma nishmat, ma nishbar, ma nishar. What's going on, she continues, that's banned. Instead ask, what's breaking down and what is buried? Ma kore ne'asar uvim komo ma kores, ma nikbar. Instead of the rude, how are you? We ask, how war you, W-A-R. Bimkom ma shlomcha, ma milchamatcha. And instead of the standard response, I'm fine, we say, everything is cracked. Indeed, those who are truly honest will answer, everything is shattered. Everything is shattered. Uvikom hatshuva etzli hakol beseder, yesh lahashiv hakol besedek. V'makpidim b'divrei emet ya'anu hakol b'shever, hakol b'shever. Lital Kaplan's new regulations on small talk are brutally honest because for her, everything is not okay. In fact, nothing is okay, and she won't pretend otherwise. When it comes to greetings, we tend to treat them as throwaway lines. We hardly pay attention to them, when in fact, they have the potential for setting the tone for the entire conversation that follows. Consider how differently you respond to, hey, how are you? Versus, hi, how are you? Now, admittedly, we don't always know the right way to ask, and neither do we have to bare our broken hearts in each and every conversation. That's only to say that we should ask with true curiosity when we greet one another. By its very nature, to ask, Ma shlomcha, how are you, is an expression of caring. But it's not just how we ask that matters, so too does the timing. The second century sage, Rabbi Matya ben Harash, taught, upon meeting people, be the first one to extend greetings. Heve makdim bishlom kol adam. In the short aphorism, Rabbi Matya makes a few important points. Number one, don't wait for the other person. Be the first to offer greetings. Number two, don't just greet the people that you know, but greet all people. Kol hadam, he says. Number three, don't just say hi, but heve makdim bishlom kol adam. It's important to check in on a deeper level. Are you shalom? Are you shalem? Are you whole? Are you at peace? Rabbi Yitz Greenberg, in his commentary on this Mishnah, writes, "To extend a greeting is a statement of respect and friendship. What might appear to be a conventional gesture is an affirmation that the person before you is a human being made b'tselem Elohim, in God's image, and deserving of engagement. And to be the first person to reach out deepens the greeting because it affirms the equality of the other." Vital Kaplan and Rabbi Matya teach us about asking, "How are you?" But there is, of course, another side to the equation, not asking the question, but listening for the answer. For that, we turn to our parsha, called Vayishma Yitro, and Moshe and Yitro listened. But what exactly did he listen to? A midrash explains as follows. It says, peace is even more important than praise. Peace is more important than praise. What does he mean? For we find that when Yitro came to Moshe to hear all of the amazing things that God had done for the Jewish people, he didn't ask about the Exodus or the splitting of the sea or the 10 Commandments or the revelation on Mount Sinai or the manna in the desert and on and on. He didn't ask all of those things first, for which God is deserving of praise. Rather, the first thing that Yitro did was to ask, Moshe, how are you? And before Moshe started sharing all those amazing things for which God is deserving of praise, Moshe asked Yitro, and how are you? As we read at the beginning of the parsha, V'yishalu ish l're'ehu l'shalom. Moshe and Yitro asked each other, how are you? Before, we'll read it in the Hebrew. Gadol hu hashalom, shuhu kodem l'shivcho shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sheken matzinu lo patach liyitro tchila lo b'yitziat Mitzrayim, lo ba'aseret hadibrot, lo b'kriyat Yam Suf, v'lo b'man ela b'shalom tchila shenamar b'yishalu l'shalom ish l're'ehu. Before praise, Yitro began with peace. He began by sincerely asking and attentively listening. Doing so in this order created the opportunity for a deeper conversation. As the Midrash concludes, asking, how are you, settles the mind to listen for what follows. Mipnei shalom meishiv et hadat lishmoa et kol elu. Chaverim, today on Shabbat, on this double bat mitzvah, on a day when we name a new baby, on this Shabbat Mevarchim, when we announce the coming of Adar, Dafka, the month of Adar, when we ask, how are you? Hopefully everyone is able to answer today, I'm doing great. But sometimes it's okay to answer, Bimkom hakol beseder, hakol beshever. Sometimes, whether it's related to Israel or something in our personal lives, it's okay to say everything is broken. At Kiddush this afternoon and in the weeks ahead, let's practice our greetings not as a mere formality, but with sensitivity and with a real desire to hear the answer, Vayishma Yitro. By doing so, may our small talk spark connective conversations that deepen our understandings of one another, that strengthen our relationships, and perhaps in some small ways help bring greater peace to our world. Let us say, Amen. Hymn to you. Let's turn in our Siddurim to page 148 and rise as Sally leads us in a prayer for our country.